Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. Thank you very, very much for being here. To my new subscribers, welcome and thank you so much. To my donors, you're amazing. Thank you very, very much. It is so appreciated. Um, I wanted today to just do more of a channeled message. There's a lot going on right now. The first 15 days or so of this month, if you think about it, there has been so much going on. And in some ways, it's almost like we stop absorbing it, right? I mean, there's the Hunter Biden thing, and there's the whole Trump thing, and there's the whole, lawyers going back and forth, and there's just been so much energy in so many different directions. And I thought it was time to just take a moment and just pull back a little bit and see what guidance is out there for us as we move through this time. It is, it's becoming, I think, harder to stay really strong in a sort of positive energy because there is so much angry energy and there is so much confusion and muddy water and rage out there that it becomes that much more important that we hold ourselves in that light. And there are absolutely times when it is a service to yourself and others, frankly, to disconnect and just allow yourself to um, move away from the crazy and center yourself and find the calm. And I know a lot of you already have said, I just don't watch the news, or I only watch one program or whatever because it's too much. And you know what? It is too much. And the reality is over the next several months, it's going to become really too much. Okay. um, and so it's incumbent upon each of us individually to recognize and know that we need to take care of our own energy, our own vitality, because the energy that is swirling around us is so incredibly chaotic. One of the things that has happened, and listen, this has been going on for decades, okay? This sort of low bubbling kind of rage that certain areas or certain groups of people feel. But what has happened is it is like somebody took the cork off the bottle. And with Trump in particular, but not exclusively, there has been sort of permission granted to just be angry and to lash out and to feel that, they're it's perfectly valid for people to just shoot people because they don't like the color of their skin or their religious beliefs. It has become perfectly acceptable for people to start screaming at other people in parks and grocery stores and whatever. This is telling you the kind of rage that has become amplified over the last several years. And this is not exclusive to the United States. It's global. But it's really important that the crazier it gets, the more calm and the more centered we become. It is so important that we pull back and purposely, with conscious thought, with intention, get ourselves to mental places where we can breathe deep and we can relax and we can trust. The more um the more stuff that just bubbles up to the surface, the more we find out about, the more it is incumbent upon us to really hold firm to our light. I'm just going to put you on pause for 1 second. Sorry about that. I just actually realized that I didn't have my mic plugged in. Computer mic is pretty good, so you should have been able to hear those first 4 minutes or so, but we're going to go forward with my mic. So part of the energy that is swirling around is there's kind of this really intense feeling that for every single wrong, it must be corrected. There must be punishment. There must be a balancing. And you're not wrong. But what is getting forgotten in the mix is that where there has been wrong, karma instantly steps in. And sometimes it is not appropriate for there to be retribution and punishment for that soul, for that person on the planet. I'm not saying everybody is exempt. That's not what I'm saying. But I think what is happening is we become so entrenched with the idea of all the things that have been going on, all the kind of wrong behavior, all of the harm that has been done, that we sort of get it in our head that there needs to be corrections, and there will be corrections. But we also have to come to terms with the fact that sometimes those corrections are not going to take place in that person's lifetime on the planet. And those corrections are not necessarily, they don't necessarily need to be applied on the planet. They will be taken care of in other lifetimes and in karma. And more importantly, a lot of that karma is happening behind the scenes, and we're not privy to it. We don't see it. There's a couple of things that sort of come to mind, right? Ginny Thomas is one of them. We know what her views and her ideas and her attitudes are, and we know to whatever degree we understand or think we understand, her role in J6. Okay, I don't believe she is going to receive legal. I don't believe there's going to be a legal remedy for what she has done. I could be wrong. But what I can tell you is karmically, there's a price that she is currently paying, and there is a price that she will continue to pay. Okay. So, and there's a lot of kind of lesser players, if you will, particularly in the US political arena, that we feel are going to slip by. They're going to get away with it. And it agitates us and it worries us and it makes us feel unsafe. And it's important to remember that when you take out the top, the former guy, the Rudies, like that the rest crumbles. Leaders of the Proud Boys, leaders of the Oath Keepers, the bottom crumbles. And a lot of times there's a really big, brave front put on. When it comes right down to it, it's nothing more than a front. And it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we don't get so caught up in every single person needs to be punished, that we lose sight of the fact that yes, there are legal remedies that are going to take place on this planet, but there are others whose balancing is going to take place internally within their private life in another life. And that's where we have to sort of step back and kind of go into that, let go, let God kind of mentality. Because the more we focus on every single person who we perceive has done wrong, the more it impacts our own sense of soul growth, our sense of safety, our faith and our trust that not only the tangible earth guardrails will hold, but we have to remember all of the other guardrails that are in place from the other side and in the other side and on the other side. So Spirit has asked me to just pass along these insights so that there is kind of a reminder that not every punishment do we need to witness. Now, that is not saying that sort of the kingpins, if you will, aren't going to get knocked down, because they are and they will. And there will be not only earthly consequences, but beyond that, there's going to be spiritual consequences and lifetime consequences that are going to play out long into that soul's future. But it is important that we stay more in a place of trust and faith than in a place of retribution or anger. Because what is happening is the crazier things are getting out there and the more stuff that is bubbling up to the surface, the more there is that sense of it's like a low grade anxiety. And that anxiety is not getting us anywhere and it doesn't do any good. It is so important that we stay strong and we stay focused and know that even if it looks like somebody got away with it, we need to have trust and faith that they didn't and they won't. And whether it is now or 5 years from now or 10 years or in another lifetime, they are going to have to balance that behavior. It's going to have to correct, if you will. And that can be sort of a frustrating concept because, particularly in the United States, there has been so much damage done almost to the psyche of the country that there is a sense that it just has to get fixed, it has to get corrected, and there has to be punishment handed out. And I'm not saying it's not happening or not going to happen, but what I am saying is drilling down into the minutia and trying to convince ourselves that the only way this can be cleared or healed is for every single player to be punished is only increasing the anxiety. And that anxiety is feeding into amplifying the very energy that we are trying to avoid. We are trying to stay in the light. We are trying to stay in that place of compassionate understanding. Compassionate understanding is not the same as forgiving. It's about understanding. And know that, you know, I'm sure most of you have heard this expression that I forgave that person not because they needed my forgiveness, but because I needed to forgive. Because by not, it was damaging my own self. And that's part of what's going on with this uptick of sort of anxiety that's going on, because a lot of the people right of center are so scared, are so aware that in some ways they really are facing extinction. Okay. That their behavior becomes almost more volatile. And then what that does is it amplifies our own anxiety. And then that increases. But that anxiety is a lower vibration energy. And so it feeds exactly what we're trying to eradicate, if you will. Now, I'm not exactly sure why Spirit was so insistent that this was the message and it needed to be gotten out, and this was the time to get it out. And I don't tend to question this sort of stuff. If they say this is what you're going to talk about, then I tend to say, okay, I'll talk. And then they just give me the words anyways. But it's just a gentle reminder that nobody gets away with anything. One way or another, there is a price to be paid. And one way or another, that price will be paid, whether it is today, tomorrow, 100 years from now, or in 5 lifetimes, but it will be paid. And sometimes we have to remember that and frankly be satisfied with that. We have to take that breath and say, I'm going to let go of some of the little stuff, so maybe I can focus on the more important stuff. And the important stuff is what needs your focus. Okay, the important stuff is sending light and protection to those who need the light and protection so they can do their work in bringing to justice the leaders that need to be brought to justice and their sycophants, okay? But not all the way down to the janitor, okay? Not all the way down to the level of every single person who was possibly ever involved. We don't need to waste our energy there, and our energy is far more powerful and abundant and useful when it is directed at increasing the light and protection that um, those who are supposed to be doing that work, whether it is a Jack Smith or it is a judge, um, or lawyers. It's theirs to do the work. And we're far better off to surround them with light. We're far better off to amplify the positive and the good, because that is what is going to win. That is energetically what is going to lift us all into a place where we can move beyond the kind of hurt and damage that has been caused, where we can move beyond the anxiety and the fear to a place where we can sit in light and radiate it out and know that that is our job, that is our function. And lawyers and judges have theirs. Sometimes it's really hard to sort of accept that sometimes the answers we want are not the answers we receive. And Spirit wants to remind you that by a huge majority, 75, 85%, you're going to see the punishment being handed down. But not every single person. You're not going to witness it. Maybe it goes on in their personal life. Maybe they pay for it that way. But I mean, certainly you can look at members of the Trump family who literally are disintegrating before our very eyes, who are so spun out, they're not even in any sort of alternate reality. They're now in like some alternate world with their belief structures. That is a price they're paying. The damage that they are doing to their soul is immense. And that will have to be course corrected. There are a lot of things that go on beneath the surface, that were going on beneath the surface, that really, really did need to come to light. And sometimes those who are chosen to help bring it to the light have a lot of dark energy around them. And that's why they're so suited to the corruption that became so extreme. It all came out into the light. It's important to remember that on a spiritual level, you and me and everyone else are interconnected. We are all part of a large, huge soul group. And we all have different roles to play. But by and large, the people who are watching this channel and others like it, we understand that our function is to hold the light, to stand in that light, and to radiate that light out. And so as the weeks and months continue to unfold, it's important that we remember that. I think one of the reasons that they're talking about this is that if the Cheeseboro Powers trial that is scheduled to go forward, because they wanted a speedy trial, they're scheduled to go forward sort of, I think, October 24th or something. It's not very far away. There's going to be stuff that comes out in that trial that we had no idea about, and it is going to anger us and it is going to infuriate us. And you're being asked now to recognize that anger is an amazing motivating force, but not when it is used for destruction. When, when anger is used in a constructive way, it's a powerful, powerful force. And you're being asked to remember that and use the anger or the frustration or just that energy of what the hell happened here? How did it happen? Use that energy to channel healing energy and light energy. That is where you are going to fulfill your purpose. You know, we all got to take kind of the good with the bad. Lately, it seems like the bad has been overwhelming, but know that the time will come and is coming and has come where the good is winning. And it's our job to keep that kind of energy moving forward. The positive, the forgiving, the understanding. I don't know if this message is timely or not. Their messages tend to be very timely, so I guess we'll see as the coming days and weeks unfold. But you are being asked to hold on to your light and to not allow anxiety and anger and worry and fear to override it. There's enough of that going on already. So stand in your light, stand in your power, and send it where it needs to go. And that is the message for today. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye-bye.